I'm not making any money talking these days. Good Christ. I'm a dick, folks. I'm not gonna lie to you. Still am. I guess I am a decent guy because I'm a fucking jerk, and I'm not a jerk. Apparently, I'm a dick. I'm not an awful guy, but I've done so much ridiculous stuff. I'm an awful guy.
What's happening? Mike Schmidt, comedian, friend, writer, pal, the 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast, the 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Mike Schmidt, your friend inside of your iPod as you jog on the treadmill and think about subscribing. Why haven't you subscribed yet? Damn you. Who do you think you are? You think you're better than the rest of us? I subscribed 3 times on 3 different computers in my house just so I could kick up these numbers to 6. That's how many people who listen to the show every week, by the way, 6. At least that's according to the email that I get. Here's an interesting thing, by the way. If you have with the internet and all that stuff now, guys from your middle school and guys from your like grade school can look you up and find out who you are and what you're doing. That's strange. There's a guy broke his wrist in 5th grade playing kickball. Wrote me a fucking letter. I don't know what he expects me to do with this. I actually wrote him back. I said, "Hey, is that cast off yet?" I mean, because what do you say? What do we have to talk about? Nothing. But he sent me a friend request on MySpace, and I guess he feels that we still have a lot in common from 5th grade. And I can't blame him because we certainly do. I sit into a room and talk into a fucking microphone in front of nobody but Eric. I'm coming to you again from Riverside, California, this week. Home of the elegant drive-by. That's what I like to call it now. It's funny. I got here early because I got a phone call from Eric because apparently he's the boss, and he called me up and he's like, "Hey, here's my Eric impression. Hey, Mike, it's Eric. You gotta, you know what? I gotta spend some time with my wife. So let's make it 5:30 instead of 2:30. Click." No emotion whatsoever. Talking to him is fucking brutal. It's so funny because I've often thought, I'm like, hey, should I let him have a microphone and talk to me? No. Because it would just be like, hey, Eric, what's happening? How's it going over there? I'm okay. I'm just staring at this computer to make sure that your levels are fine. All right, good. That's a lot of words out of you, Eric. Yeah, it is. Someday you'll meet Eric and you know that I'm not kidding. So the bottom line is, Eric told me all that, and I do what I'm told because Eric's the boss. So I got here when I in the afternoon, and it's Tuesday, so it's tax day. So that's a zoo. But I got my taxes taken care of already. And by taken care of, I mean, I got ass raped by the government, much earlier than I thought. So, and not even like just ass raped. I mean, like I'm talking ass raped by Shaq while you're eating at Applebee's. Like, I mean, just the worst possible situation. And that's bad for both holes. And I don't know who's getting it worse, quite frankly. I don't know if it's Shaq up the ass or Applebee's, fucking barbecue encrusted Oriental salad wings or whatever the fuck they sell. Every time I see their commercials, they're always selling something and they're always like, we glazed and covered and smothered more things today than you could ever imagine. Everything in that place tastes like a fucking movie theater floor. I got here early, so he told me to come at 5:30 and I got here at 3, maybe 2:45 because I wanted to, because if someone tells you to get somewhere at 5:30 in Los Angeles and it's over an hour away, you should just leave at fucking 7 a.m. or rent a helicopter because otherwise you're going to be in your fucking car for 4 hours. So I left my house and I got here in an hour and 10 minutes, which is exactly what MapQuest said it would take. It said it would an hour and 12 minutes. I got here in an hour and 12 minutes, taking the way MapQuest told me, not the way Eric told me or the way the lady who lives in my car told me. I instead went MapQuest way with the 210 and the 57 and the 91 and the 71 hike. And it was beautiful. I mean, it was just, I didn't see any traffic. So it was great. So the downside of that, of course, is that I got to Riverside a lot earlier than I fucking wanted to. So I was here looking for something to do. And I actually put in, like in my GPS, I tried to punch in like notable points of interest. And literally it just went, like it just sighed. I was like, really? My GPS just sighed? Of course it did. So I was looking around and I mean, this is a shit town. So I thought I was going to find like some Vice. So I was looking for like an adult bookstore to hang out in. And it's funny because I worked in an adult bookstore and the adult bookstore was the one I worked at was named Lay Sex Shop. Like they all are. Like you envision seeing, you walk in and there's Marcel Marceau with like a beret and a fucking black and white striped shirt there. Hello, are you interested in some porn? I don't know why Marcel Marceau would talk. He's a mime. He wouldn't say a fucking word, quite frankly. But you're expecting me like, ha, 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 with a fucking pencil-thin mustache and a beret. So, lace sex shop is actually, that's fine. That's the generic name that they should all have. When I was doing stand-up in the Midwest, you would drive through like Michigan and Wisconsin, and they always had the Velvet Touch bookstore. To lend some sort of air of class. You'd always see it, and it was always right there, very visible off the freeway, the Velvet Touch. And what was funny is they had the Velvet Touch bookstore, but then they had a series of like convenience stores that were called the Come and Go. And they spelled K-U-M in case you had any sort of inclination that it wasn't what they were hinting at. It was called Come and Go, spelled K-U-M, which I always thought should have been the name of the adult bookstore instead of the Velvet Touch. And I couldn't imagine, I don't know why. And Come and Go, you were thinking like, what are the other fucking choices besides Come and Go? Like the Squirt and Split, you know, the fucking Launch and Leave. What the fuck? Come and Go. Are you kidding me with that name? Horrible. I just pictured them putting it on a sign and laughing their asses off every time they went and put a fucking sign up in front of the store. But I couldn't find an adult bookstore in this fucking town, which seems crazy because it's just off the freeway and it's just got a lot of transient people and there's a Caro's. You would think there would be some fucking adult bookstore here, but no, I couldn't find one anyway. Unfortunately, you can't put adult bookstore into my GPS because you can put adult entertainment in, which I found out when I was in Vegas. Me and a bunch of my friends had all my friends had their 40th birthday parties. Like they turned 40 a year and a half or two before me. So we all went out there and we were in my car and I was just punching in where to find the strip clubs in Vegas from where we were. It was just, I kind of know where they are, but at the same time, I wanted to find a bunch of them at once. And my car finds them. It starts bringing up Spearmint Rhino and Scores and all these different places. So I'm like, beautiful. So we go to them and we enjoy ourselves. And I you know what? I went to this. I went and I got a lap dance, and we're in the room, and then of course this woman is just the whole time just trying to hypnotize me with her hips like they were a metronome, trying to get my credit card so she could get more fucking money out of me. But that's not happening. I'm not coughing up any more dough. And she's still continuing to try, and then she's hinting at sexual acts or something that might be. And I'm like, again, I'm not interested in that. I'm just there for a lap dance, because that's what I like to do. Is I like to get as I want to get my tea kettle just about to whistle, and then I fucking take off. That's what I like to do. So she starts hinting and whatever, but then she grabs and she takes my belt off and starts working my belt in areas that a belt should not really be worked. And then she throws it around my neck and she's like, pulling me closer, whatever, all that stuff. But the really reason I bring this up is then the lap dance ends because when they find out you're not going to bring up any more money, it's literally like, all right, let's go out the door. Yeah. Crack a whip. You got to move. So I come walking out and I have my shirt is disheveled. I've got my belt around my neck. My friends are just like, what the fuck happened to you in there? I said, you know what? Nothing. Imagine if I had coughed up the extra money, what I would fucking look like. But anyway, so anyway, the point is I get back to civilization. I get back to my house and I'm in the car and my wife gets in the car and we're going to go find somewhere to go. And I go to use the GPS system and I realize I've got 71 strip clubs in there on the destination. And again, not that she would care that I went to a strip club. She might worry about the fact that I went to 71 of them in one night and, sitting there at 6 o'clock in the morning, staring into a lonely vagina, wondering what the fuck is going to happen. But whatever. So she was, I was like, no, hon, don't worry. I know exactly where we're going. And then I did everything I could to fucking erase it. I don't know. I've had to put a magnet on the hood or whatever the fuck you have to do. But no, there's 9 buttons. So I erased it. But still, be careful. Cover your tracks, I guess is my point. The GPS is the new credit card bill, the new phone bill. If you saw Mad Men, when the woman used the phone bill to find out what was going on. And by the way, that happened to me one time when I was dating Karen. We were living together, and I called an ex-girlfriend to tell her that we couldn't talk anymore. I had to call her to kind of say, look, I'm living with somebody. We're over. And then I threw away the phone bill. My wife, because she wasn't used to long-term relationships or being with a guy that she had known, dug the phone bill out of the garbage, pieced it together, and said, who the fuck is this that you've been calling? Yeah, that was an interesting time at my house. But everything's fine, and she's still there now until she hears this telecast and finds out I got a crazy lap dance and my belt was taken off, and then I told everybody she pulled the fucking phone bill out of the garbage. So, of course, well, then again, if she's not happy with that, she's probably not going to be happy with the rest of this. So the fact I'm driving around Riverside looking for an adult bookstore probably isn't going to help. And it's fine, because I don't hang out at adult bookstores when you're killing time. It's like I said, it's better than, and I couldn't find one here. So I went to KFC, which is essentially like the adult bookstore of food. You know what I mean? Because fried chicken is porn. It's just food porn, fried chicken. It's just bad for you and it's over quick. And then you walk out of there in shame and you regret it. The worst ever. I was working at an adult bookstore one time. This guy, he comes at first. This happened too once. There was a dry erase board in the bathroom for guys to, I don't know, leave notes to one another. I don't know why they did it, but they did. I don't even know why there was a bathroom, quite frankly. Why are you encouraging anybody to whip out their cock at that place? Keep them sheathed, fellas. That's my what I would say. And they didn't, because it was weird. There was this elaborate mirror set up so I could see into the arcade to make sure nothing crazy was happening. And I saw a guy, and he's fucking running off a batch. So I'm like, hey, whenever anybody started with that, you'd have to yell, hey, cut it out, which was usually enough. It would get the chimp to put his, stop touching himself, and everybody else calm down. The rest of the monkeys calm down and stop hitting the cage. But one guy, I'm yelling at him. I go, dude, seriously. And then I had to go into the arcade, and I walk in, and this guy's jerking off. And I go, hey, you can't do that in here. And he turns around and looks at me, and he goes, what? He's looking at me, continuing to jerk off because he's trying to finish. I guess he's trying to finish. And I said to him, I go, dude, you are not supposed to do that in here. And I'm telling you, if anything comes flying out of you, I am putting a foot right through your fucking rib cage. And I am not kidding. And he finally like stopped, and he panicked, and he got up and he split. And then the other guys were looking at me like I'm insane. And then I'm sure one of them there was probably like, all right, bring it on, fella. Because if you're jerking off in public, you're not that far away from wanting to get your ass kicked by somebody in shame and humiliation. But yeah, that happened. So, but anyway, they had the dry erase board in the bathroom, and I'd come to work one time, and on the dry erase board, I arrive at work. I go use the restroom before my shift, and it says gray sweatshirt, black sweats, looking to give head in parking lot after 11 p.m. And I'm like, oh Christ. So, I immediately, I'm like, well, I got to go sweep the parking lot and make sure nobody's fucking hanging out there. And then so I use the restroom, and I wash my hands, and I look in the mirror. Yeah. Gray sweatshirt, black sweats. That's what I'm wearing. And I'm working the 11 o'clock shift. So all I'm thinking is either this guy fucking psychically knew what I was going to wear and said, you know what, I'm going to play a crazy prank. Or there's I have some weird doppelganger who's out there just fucking gobbling knobs in the parking lot all night long. And that's not good. Believe me, you do not want that happening. Because imagine if you do that, you go out in the parking lot with a guy who's dressed like that, and then you come in and you see me wearing the outfit. You got to think that we're running some kind of a scam or like a game on everybody, like, oh, you get them outside, you got them coming in, you got them going out. So that was grim. I did not. So I erased the dry erase board before anybody gave me the fisheye. And I also, when I worked there, a guy came to the desk, and he bought what I'm going to say was roughly $3,000 worth of bear porn, and just like stacked up these movies and magazines and these boxes of videos. And if you don't know what bear porn is, first of all, God bless you, because you shouldn't fucking know what it is. But if you don't, it's not porn with bears in it, although that would be fucking amazing, don't you think? Fuck that Grizzly Man movie where the guy got eaten at the end. I would love to see like three guys trying to fuck a bear, and then he's trying to kill him. That would be hysterical. But instead, it's bear porn. Bears are they're like me. They're big, giant guys, and I had a goatee, and I had a lot of hair at the time. And there's like a fetish for, it's like big, hairy guys. And they call them bears. And this guy was putting up the bear porn, and then he gives me the look, and he's giving me the eyebrows like, and this is, by the way, an internet broadcast, so I know you can't see the face that I'm making, but literally, like, he's looking at me, raising his eyebrows up and down, like, are you interested, fella? Because I've got a Polaroid in the car, and I just go ahead and write your name on the dry erase board, and we can go outside in the back. But and it was so funny. It was like, that was the defeated moment in that fucking store when I just went, I have to get the fuck out of here. This is not worth stealing the money that I'm stealing. I need to take off immediately. And boy, if I was worried about Karen not hanging in there before, she's got to be really thrilled about the past 5 minutes of stories. That's good. Well, fuck it. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and rule my marriage completely. I'll tell this story. So this happened a few months ago. Karen and I, my wife, we go to Ralph's, which is a big grocery store out here in Los Angeles. And we pull in. It's Sunday afternoon, like 4:00, and we park. And we go to get out of the car, and in the car next to us, I'm in the passenger side. I get out and I look, and there's a couple in the front seat, and the woman is in the passenger seat, and she has her hand in the pants of the guy who's he's in the driver's seat, and I'm like, and she's going to work, and I'm just like, all right, so I calmly stare, and then I walk around the back of my car, and I'm like, well, 4:00 hand job in the parking lot of Ralph seems a little off, but what the fuck do I know? I'm a married guy. So I get my wife, and we're walking to the entrance, and I said, there's a woman giving a guy a hand job in that car. She goes, what? I go, the car we just parked next to, there's a woman giving a guy a hand job, and she's like leaning over, so I didn't know if it was going to go any further. They might have just been goofing around. And she's just like, really? and they don't get out of the car as we're walking to the entrance. So we get a cart, and we go in, and then Karen's like, oh, fuck, I forgot my keys. Because she has a hybrid car, and it's always a push button, so she constantly forgets her keys in her car. So she goes back, and I go inside, and I'm shopping. And she's gone for like 5 minutes. I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I'm getting like produce, I'm in the produce section, I'm shopping. And finally Karen walks back in, and she walks up to me, and I go, hey, what did you get the keys? And she goes, come here. I go, what's up? She goes, come with me. And so she takes me back into the, in Ralph's. We go back into the restroom, and we have sex at Ralph's. My wife just brings me in, and that's it. She's like, come with me. I follow her. We go in, and we have sex right there at the Ralph's supermarket in the bathroom. Like, we snuck in, and she wasn't, it was like brazen. Like, she was just like, let's go. And we did. And I'm like, yeah. So we finished, and we got to, now it's funny, that kind of thing is always great when you have the full-on velocity of it happening, when your rush of hormones is happening. You're like, all right, let's go and get this done. And then when it's finished, you're like, how the fuck are we going to get out of here? You got to try to figure out an escape plan, and you got to throw a blanket over somebody and set off a flare, and somebody crawls out of a vent. But instead, smartly, it's the men's room. So I walk out, and I kind of stand guard and give it a little back and forth, and then I knock, and then she walks out. And so we walk out looking, I'm sure disheveled, but happy. And then I look at her and I'm like, what the hell was that all about? And she's like, well, I went back to the car, and that girl she had her head down on that guy's lap, and she was giving him a blowjob, and she didn't even care. Like I came over and I was looking, and they saw me looking, and they didn't care. They just kept going. And I was just like, kind of got, excited. And I was like, well, fantastic. Well, let's hope that happens more often. And that's the problem. Because, when a woman does something like that, she's like, it was like this amazing once in a fucking blue moon treat out of nowhere. And it was like, oh, wow, wasn't that exciting? But yes, you did it for me. So now I think every time I go to the fucking grocery store, I'm going to get blown. I'm thinking, it's like, all right, here we go. Let's go. She's like, hey, you want to go to Target? Absolutely, I want to go to Target. Are you kidding me? I can't wait to go to fucking Target. And see, that's the problem, because now every time we go to the store, I think that's going to fucking happen, and it's not. But but eventually, and the thing is, now I keep trying to, because when a woman does it and just grabs you and says, "Let's go," you just go, because guys don't care. And but a guy is much less elegant in his efforts at that. Case in point, my wife and I go to the theater. We go to the theater. We were I had I had opera glasses on. We were watching something in John Wilkes Booth's Shutter. So we're at the theater. We're at the movie theater. This place called the ArcLight. It's like a fancy theater here in Los Angeles. And we go see a movie, and we like sit. We sit way in the back, and it's great theater. So about halfway through the movie, I started thinking to myself, well, this would be a pretty good place. It's dark, and there's really nobody around. So she's watching the movie, and as she's watching the movie, she's not looking. I pulled out my cock, because that seemed like the thing to do. It's dark, and instead of there was no build up, there's no foreplay. It's not like we were making out. Literally, I just pulled it out, thinking, "Ha, that's going to be the charm." And so I kind of I tapped her on the shoulder, and she looks at me, and I go, "Huh?" And I literally, that's what I did. Almost like when you put your hands out and you go, "Ha, what do you think?" But that's what I did. I just looked at her, because it's quiet in a movie theater, and I just went, "Hmm." My wife, she gave me a look that can only be described as a facial sigh. It would be the look would be that. Imagine what I look like when I say this. Seriously, that was the look she gave me. Doesn't say a word. Gets up, fucking leaves the movie theater. Just splits. Leaves me sitting there with my cock out, right in the middle of a goddamn movie theater. My dreams of a movie theater popcorn butter hand job dashed forever. And what do you do at that point? You put it away and watch the rest of the goddamn film. That's what you do. And it's always funny to me when my wife gets disgusted by that sort of thing. But I mean, she's not disgusted, but she just gives you a look like, well, whatever, because she knows I'm an idiot. So she just treats me like an idiot, and we get along fine, because she understands that I'm a fucking goof. What happened, the podcast is called The 40-Year-Old Boy. I turned 40 last summer. And my wife said, "What do you want for your 40th birthday? What's your thing? What could you possibly want? And because I'm one of these guys who, and this might explain my tax problem. I'm a guy who, when he wants something, just buys it. So I'm real bad to buy for like Christmas or birthdays or anything like that. Because I usually, if I see something, I'm just like, oh yes, I'll take 3 of those, in case two of them are stolen, or I lose one, or one breaks. So I'm that guy. So my wife was like, she didn't bother to try to surprise me, and she knew 40 I guess is a big milestone thing, even though for me I'm still 11, but she's like, what do you want for your 40th birthday? And I said a threesome. And because I'm a very good husband, and I'm a very caring guy. But it was like one of those where you just threw it out there just as a goof. And you expect to hear a lot of things from your wife when you say, yeah, what do you want? A threesome. You're expecting to hear quite a few things. One of the things you're not expecting to hear is, okay. Yeah, I'm going to let that sink in. That silence was on purpose because that's exactly the kind. If you'd have seen, I fucking went slack-jawed. I'm like, ha, come on, seriously? She's like, no, okay, I'm in. I said, what? She said, yeah, but here's the thing. The rules are that I control it, and I have to plan it, and I have to make sure I'm the one who takes care of the entire situation. So, I forgot any of that after okay. I'm like, whatever she would have said, if she would have said, okay, but it has to be with a goat and a mule, I would have been like, yes, fantastic, let's do it. Because she said, yes, I'm in, we're in. So she was going to plan it for my birthday. And we had a trip to Vegas coming up. So she was like, all right, well, when we go to Vegas, I'll go ahead and take care of it. And let's do this. And I can't believe that she said this. I can't believe that we're doing this. And I'm thrilled. But then after a couple days, you start to get that weird feeling where you're like, wait a minute. This isn't right. Something's like, you know what? I wouldn't put it past her to do something like tell me that we were going to have a three-way and it was all excited and planned. And then in the hotel bedroom, she was going to have me burst in naked. And then all of my friends were there with like a cake. Hey, happy birthday, surprise. Wow. You need to put that thing away because this is not a movie theater. Seriously. What are you doing? Some weird prank like that. So I'm like, all right, something's weird. So a couple days before we go, I say to her, I go, so, we got any progress on the thing? Because apparently I'm stealing microfilm with my wife because we're spies. And I'm like, is there any, has the eagle landed yet? Is that happening? And she's like, well, I'm still working on it. And we're a couple days out. So still working on it. I want to know the plans. Now I'm this guy. Like when we're driving, I keep telling her what lane to get into on the highway. I'm that kind of an asshole. So now I want to go exactly what plans she's got so I can go ahead and say, all right, those are good or those are bad. So I kind of say to her, look, you can control it and all that, but it is my birthday and it is kind of my gift. So I'd kind of like to have a say in it a little bit if I could. And she's like, well, okay. And her plan was we were going to go to Vegas and we were going to go out like to a bar and we were going to meet a girl and then take her back to our hotel room and we were going to go ahead and do this. And while that might work in movies from the 80s, I don't see it happening in real life in 2007. So I said to her, hon, that's a great plan and all, but for great plans, by great plans, I mean that is a horrible fucking plan. That is not going to work. Because you know what? I barely had game before I met you. Now I'm 15 years out of practice and I'm supposed to close the deal with a big-titted wingman at my fucking side? I don't think it's happening. And she's like, what are you talking about? I go, what do you mean, what am I talking about? She's like, well, I want to make sure that it's the right girl. I go, look, you can pick the girl. I got no problem with you picking the girl. But the problem is when you pick a girl in a bar, there's a lot of legwork involved. That means we got to go over and we got to buttonhole this girl and we got to get her away from her friends and we got to buy her drinks. And again, like I said, I wasn't really great at this when I was solo, and having to do it with you there, it's going to be a little awkward. And probably relying on you to close the deal, I'm assuming is not going to happen. So I explained to her that we're going to Vegas, and when you go to Vegas, there are places you can actually go to where you can actually arrange this sort of thing, and it's bound to happen. Like it's a sure thing. Like I'm talking fucking John Cusack and Daphne Zuniga, and there's no road trip needed, and you don't have to fucking be bored to tears by some girl from Omaha's stories all night. So she's like, well, what do you mean? I says, well, and she's like, you mean like those places on HBO? Because that's her touchstone with brothels is HBO has made them a cottage industry, and they go and they interview. And believe me, has anything looked more unsexy than a brothel on HBO with that fucking Air Force Amy lying on the ground faking orgasms at the drop of a fucking hat just to get on television? Jesus Christ, I hate those people. But I was like, well, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But she's like, no, I can't. I don't want to do that. I don't, coughing up money like that is crazy, and it just makes no sense. And I'm like, all right, well, like I'll let me figure it out. So I found a swingers club in Las Vegas to go to. And what it is, and that's, you just pay like an admission fee, and then it's just fucking Lord of the Flies. You go in there and you go ahead and figure out what's going to happen with whoever's going to happen with. So I tell her that, and she's like, well, all right, I'll go with you. So I get, that's half the battle. That's actually come on, that's 4/5 of the battle. Get your fucking wife on board to actually go to the swing club. So I do some research and I look, and there's a few swing clubs in Las Vegas. And let me tell you, that is a tough slog through the internet when you're trying to find swing clubs and you're Googling it and you're just waiting for the fucking government to kick in your door. You know that's going to happen eventually. But I finally find a place in Vegas that's, I guess, has been there for a long time. And it's called the Red Rooster. And which just sounds like a swing club, doesn't it? I was thrilled. So I said to Karen, I've got a place. Don't worry about it. And we'll go. So we go to Vegas and we're having fun, and then time comes to go on a Saturday night. And the thing is, you have to go buy the tickets earlier in the day. Like, it's this weird thing. Like, if you pay at the door, it's like 60 extra bucks or something. I don't know what the hell it was. But basically, I had to drive into the middle of the desert in Las Vegas in the middle of the day. And then you go into like a trailer where this woman runs like a furniture shop, but it's also wink, wink. Can I have a ticket to the fuck club, please? I mean, it's just awful. So I got to walk in and there's a secret handshake and you know, so she sells them to me and I take them and I go, all right, and the weirdest thing is you buy tickets to that and I just go, all right, see you tonight. Like she's waiting, like she's going to be there going, God, I can't wait till that big guy shows up. That's going to be fantastic. Isn't that going to make the night great? So Karen and I split. We go see Elton John and his red piano and then we plan on going back to the club. So we drive and now I gotta admit, it's a weirder drive at night because then it's in the middle of nowhere because you can't have it within Las Vegas proper, so it has to be just outside of the county lines or something. Almost like it's like we're in international waters, like anything goes at this point. So we drive out and it's just a normal house. We get there and it looks like a normal house from the outside, but there's a big gravel parking lot and we park and there's actual other houses around it. Like, what are those? Those houses have to be filled with like militias and Al-Qaeda cells because who else would live in a fucking neighborhood with a fuck club? I have no idea how that would work. Wouldn't you be pissed off when your son went out to play catch with you and he stepped on a fucking condom? That'd be awful. So we pull in and it's the gravel thing. We got our tickets and we got our tickets. Yeah, I've got it right in my hot little hand. I've got these tickets. What a get. Oh my God, an unbelievable get. So we go in the door, we walk in and this place, it's been established, I guess, for like 45 years or something. And believe me, they haven't had time to decorate in that 45 years because I am telling you, we walked in and it was like we were going to get laid in the Brady's house. I was waiting for fucking Alice to walk out and Marsha to come out and get hit in the nose with a fucking football because it was just orange shag carpeting and they had a band and it was this guy who was like a Neil Diamond looking dude. He had like hair, like curly hair and wood paneling and lava lamps and black velvet. I'm not kidding. It looked like the 60s and 70s fucking threw up in this building and they closed the doors to make sure none of that goodness escaped. It was fucking horrifying. But again, I can't let on like and it's funny because as a you know, I'm just a smart ass dick, but I'm also trying to keep my wife kind of on board with this. So I can't start making fun of it right out of the box because I have to make her think that it's still like kind of cool so that this whole thing comes to fruition. So we walk and then we walk in, we walk down this long hallway and again, there's a band and there's the dance floor has like there's a dance floor. Yes, there's a dance floor and there's 4 people on there and they're naked. 4 people, 4 couples or 2 couples, 4 people. Having a little naked do-si-do right out there in the middle of the fucking living room, dancing to the Neil Diamond knockoff. And Karen looks at me with this face like, oh, come on. I'm just like, honey, please, let's not judge this by 4 naked people and then a band. Let's go ahead and make sure that this is cool. We walk in and to our left, there's a bar and also they're serving food. They have like a buffet table of food. And I'm not kidding you. There is a big tray of deviled eggs out there. Wow. Deviled eggs. Could there be a less sexy food for you to put out for everybody, please? Seriously, how about, why not just a big bowl of baked beans and some asparagus for everyone to make sure all the sex-killing foods are represented out here on the fucking table? If you're going to have food, why not just go crazy theme night, like fucking, have jerk chicken and fucking pulled pork and sloppy joe and fist fuck salad. Have it all out there, for Christ's sake. Because, why are you trotting out the fucking deviled eggs? Horrible. And at least, shouldn't they have like a mold and make them like cock cookies or something, shake them like that, whatever. So we walk in and it's lit up. It's still normal lighting. And then there's those 4 people are dancing. And then over in the corner, there's a big screen TV playing porn. And then there's a couch there that's empty. And then there's another room, kind of a back room. So we're standing there. Oh, and then by the way, naked people shooting pool. Yeah. Little 8-ball. Guy bends over to shoot, got his fucking sack swinging right there as he goes to shoot a fucking 8-ball side pocket. Not attractive. So we go to the other room and there's like a pool area and a hot tub. And then we go and there's a back room and it's a little darker. So I'm like, all right, well, let's go in there. So I grab Karen's hand and I lead her into this. It's like Halloween at Universal Studios. Like I have no idea what the fuck we're going to see in this room. But I lead Karen in and we walk into this room and it's a little dark, but as your eyes adjust, you look around and what can only be described as, I'm going to say a nursing home or a bingo club just decided to go, you know what? Forget it. Let's fuck. There's probably 20 to 30 people in there. Median age has got to be about 50. And they are naked and fucking going at it. And it is just like a pile of fucking wrinkles. It looked like a room full of Shar-Pays just rutting away. And I'm holding Karen, and it's funny, I have Karen's hand, and as we walked in and we look, Karen just squeezes my hand like she did, like she does when she's getting blood drawn. You know what I mean? Just this like, huh? Like just, and she was unflappable and remained very cool, but still squeezed my hand like, oh my God, what the fuck did we just stumble into? It is insane. And, you know, you look, and part of you is like, well, this is, I guess, hot, kind of, to somebody. But to me, it just looked like night gallery. I mean, it was just all these old people rolling around. And then there's like one woman working two guys at once. And it was just, and again, you know, I don't want to shit on it right away. Although, quite frankly, some of those people might have been into that. I have no idea. But I'm trying to make sure that Karen is still on board, even though I'm not even on board at this point. My ship is fucking sailed once I walked in and I saw that the fucking cast of Cocoon going to work. So we stay in there for like, I don't know, a minute, because we didn't want to flee in terror, because I think that would have smoked us out as newcomers. So we held I'm holding her hand, she's holding my hand, and then we walk out. And she looks at me just like, all right, this is kind of a bust. And I'm like, honey, seriously, it was $40 each. Let's just, there's a couple more rooms. We can do another lap. You never know. I mean, this rug's nice, right? You know, worst comes to worst, we can go check out the porn and watch these people dance. That'll be fun, won't it? But I can see she's mentally checking out. So we go into the pool room, and there's a pool. It's an indoor pool and a hot tub, and there's nobody really out there. And then they also have a glory hole wall, if you know what that is. A glory hole is like a hole where anonymous people will put their junk through, and then you're supposed to, I don't know, paint it like a fucking Easter egg. I don't know what the hell you're supposed to do to it, but Karen and I are just like, yeah, we're going to avoid the glory hole room. Not interested in that. So we sit down and we start talking a little bit, and she's just like, well, this is awful. And I go, yeah, it's not what I thought it was. And she's like, what did you think it was? And I go, yeah, you're right. I didn't really think it was going to be any more than this, because we had seen swinger stuff also on HBO. Again, that's my wife's touch point for everything regarding sex is HBO. Because HBO shows you hookers at the point. They show you transsexuals. They show you fucking, real sex and the fucking dancer with the long tongue. Horrible. So Karen and I sit down in the pool room and we're talking, and she's kind of like, well, maybe we should go. And by maybe, she means she wants to get the fuck out of there. And I don't blame her, because honestly, up to this point, we should leave. There's nothing here for us. And so I'm like, well, let's maybe hang around. But while we're talking, a girl comes out to use the pool. And by girl, I mean not someone who's 75 years old with a fucking hearing aid. So she walks out, she dives into the pool, and swims over by us, pops her head out. She's like, hi. I said, hey. All right, hi. I didn't say, hey, all right, hi. That would be awful, because she would just swim away to the other side. But I was just like, hi. And she's like, hi, I'm Nicole. And she gets out of the pool, and she wearing nothing but a T-shirt and panties. So you can see through her shirt. It's like a wet T-shirt. And it's, I'm not going to lie to you. She was kind of hot. And then she does this thing where she rings her hair out. Like she holds her long hair and rings it out. And I'm like, wow, that was really sexy. And then all of a sudden I went, hey, your wife is here, stupid. Stop acting crazy. So Nicole sits down in the chair and she starts talking to us. And when I say she sits down in a chair, and Karen and I are sitting together on a love seat. And that's important for a reason. You'll find out soon. So we're talking. And by we, I mean me and Nicole, because, Karen is just kind of hanging out. And she's being cool about it. But at the same time, she still kind of wants to go. But now I've got a tractor beam on fucking Nicole, and I'm like, this is going to happen. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Nicole, and I'm trying to be funny and trying to be whatever and trying to be everything that I'm fucking not. So I'm doing that. And it dawns on me that how weird must it be for Karen to sit there while her husband is flirting with another woman right in front of her. And I know she's supposedly on board with it, and it's a birthday thing and she's going to do all that. But at the same time, I can't imagine how fucking strange that must be to see your significant other sit there and flirt with somebody right in front of you. Until Dwayne walked into the room. Dwayne comes walking in, and Nicole stands up and gives him a kiss and goes, hey, this is Dwayne, my boyfriend. And let me tell you about Dwayne. Dwayne walks in. Dwayne is completely naked. Long blonde hair, completely naked, muscles. He's got like a V where his abs should be, where I'm supposed to have abs, but I don't. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm not, unfortunately, I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not. Dwayne has the biggest cock I have ever seen in my entire life. And I'm telling you, it looked like a balloon stuffed with pudding just hanging there. I mean, it was fucking ridiculous. And it was so funny to the point where I saw Karen make a face like, huh? Like almost like a dog trying to understand what you're trying to say to it. Just like this weird confused, like, what the hell is that? Oh my God. And I didn't want to turn around just in case he fucking hit me with it and knocked me out like it was a blackjack or something, and then used it as a lasso and tied up Karen and fucking took her away because it was that ridiculous. Like I actually wanted to tackle him because I thought he might be in danger. That's how fucking weird looking his cock was. It was gigantic. It was like a fucking sock full of lima beans. So, and I'm like, and now I'm talking to his girlfriend, and I'm like, like I said, I'm trying to flirt with her, and I don't know why I thought Nicole was alone. Like I didn't even think about. Here's the thing. Do the math on this with me. If we went to a bar, I was going to have to try to close the deal with somebody who wasn't into it. And that was not obviously going to work. So then I was like, well, let's go to a brothel because that person, I don't have to close anything except my fucking wallet. And then she's on board and we're in. So that's great. So instead I settled in the middle for a swing club thinking that, well, they're there for sex, but yeah, they all are, but they're all usually with somebody. So why the fuck didn't I fucking take it into an account? I don't even know what I was thinking. So I was so excited by the possibility. I just was like, let's go. So we went, we're there, Nicole's there, and Nicole introduces Dwayne to us, by the way, and Dwayne goes, hey, how you guys doing? Goes to shake my hand. Yeah. And it's so funny. Honestly, I didn't want to shake my hand because my first thought was, well, that cock looks like an arm and I'm going to grab it on accident. Seriously. And give that a good shake. And then this whole thing goes to pieces. So instead I stand up and I kind of just give him a fist pound like, hey, let's all keep our germs to ourselves for now. So he's then, he shakes Karen's hand, and Karen, I can see, is just weirded out. Like, because it is quite, and because none of us want to say anything. I mean, what are you going to say? Hey, nice cock. I mean, you can't do that to the guy. Although I'm sure he wants you to. That's why he's walking around fucking naked in the middle of this room. And, but it is literally the elephant in the room. We can't discuss it. So we're on this love seat, and he sits down on the love seat with Karen and I. This guy's completely naked. And if there would have been like a 2-inch gap between us, I'm sure he would have sashayed his ass down into that. But instead he's like, hey, scooch over. And he sits down between Karen and the arm of the love seat. So now we're wedged together and Karen's in the middle. I'm talking to Nicole. And now Karen starts talking to Dwayne, and I'm trying to still talk to Nicole, and I'm trying to keep the plate spinning in the air when all I want to do, honestly, is take a plate and hit fucking Dwayne over the head with it. Because honestly, I am thinking to myself, you know what? Because me, I'm fucking, and maybe you don't know me, but if you do or you don't, my first instinct, I get into a shame spiral. I immediately want to fucking fight this guy for no reason. I don't know why I want to fight this guy. I'm the kind of guy, believe me, I walk into the grocery store and I have fought everybody in the grocery store before I left. It's in my head. I planned it out of exactly how I would do it. So now I'm thinking about having to fight Dwayne, and then I'm like, well, fucking Dwayne's naked. And besides, the last thing I want to do is death by horsecock. I don't want to have that fucking happen to me. So now we're talking, and I don't like the fact that Dwayne's there now, because now my three-way, my fucking hat trick has become a golden sombrero, and I did not bargain for that. Because it's my birthday. For Karen's birthday, we'll get a Dwayne. All right, we'll get a Dwayne for you on your birthday. God damn it. So we're talking, and so now I'm starting to pull back from this idea. I'm like, wow, that be careful what you wish for thing. Yeah, I lived it. So we're sitting there, we're talking, and I'm trying to talk to Nicole, and now Nicole's kind of leaning in close, like she's leaning, and she's got her hand on my arm, and we're talking, and I'm like, well, this is going to happen. But then on my left, I can hear Karen actually kind of laughing and talking with Dwayne, and he's making her laugh, and I'm like, oh, this is going to happen. So we're sitting there, and as we're talking, in my head, I'm going through all the motions and trying to figure out what's going to happen, when Dwayne sits up and goes, hey, you guys want to go upstairs? Now, I didn't even know there was an upstairs in this joint. I just thought that the fucking Hall of Elders was the only place where fucking sex was going on. But it turns out that there's an upstairs, and that's where you go to, and I guess when you're serious. I have no idea, but we're about to fucking find out. So I look at Karen, and I make eye contact with her. And you know that thing where you're kind of on board? You're each other's only friend. So you've got to figure out a way out. So we look, and we make eye contact, and we're going to say the same thing at once, where I just kind of go, well, and Karen goes, yeah. Yeah. And they go, great, let's go. And Dwayne stands up and he lumbers over, trying not to step on his cock, over to the door. And Nicole stands up and takes her shirt off. So now she's just topless in wet panties and goes, great, let's go. And they go over to the door, and they're holding the door for us. And I look at Karen and I go, we're going upstairs? And she goes, yeah. And they go, great, we'll meet you up there. And then they leave. So now we've got a second to talk. And we stand up and we start to walk toward the door. And I look at Karen and I go, so you really want to go upstairs? She goes, well, yeah, that's why we came here, right? Isn't that what you wanted? I go, well, yeah. I mean, I wanted to go upstairs with me, you, and Nicole, maybe, but I hadn't really factored in fucking huge dick Dwayne coming in as part of the equation. And she's like, well, I mean, I thought that's why you wanted to come here, right? This is this whole thing's for you. And I go, no. So do you want to go upstairs or not? She goes, I want to do whatever you want to do. I said, okay, well, would you mind if we took off? She's like, no, let's go. Fantastic. So I grabbed a fucking handful of deviled eggs and we got the fuck out of there. That was it. And I guess if I'm going to tell you anything, if you learn anything, folks, if I've taught you anything this week, it's be happy. Seriously, be happy with who you're with and what you've got, because you might want to think about going out and doing a lot of crazy shit, but you know what? For every Nicole, there's going to be a fucking Dwayne, and you do not want to have to deal with the Dwaynes of the world. Unless you're a woman, then for every Dwayne, there's a Nicole, but you won't fucking care because Dwayne's got a giant hammer and you'll share him with Nicole happily. Maybe you'll do that. Although I have no idea if you will, because quite frankly, I'm not a woman and I don't know how they think, as indicated by me bringing my wife to a fucking swing club. That's great. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you listening to the 40-year-old boy. We appreciate you. Yeah, Eric and I. I'll speak for Eric. Why not? Or me and Dwayne's cock. We're thrilled that you're listening. Dwayne's cock he's a subscriber. It's got its own. It actually was wearing an iPod when it came into the room. It was listening to some very impressive songs. Thank you for listening to the 40-year-old boy podcast. You guys can always subscribe through iTunes. That would be best, I think. You can listen over at MikeSchmidtComedy.com, or you can send me email to Mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Let me know what you're thinking. Comment on communiques. Let me know what's happening, how you feel about the show. You can always leave feedback at iTunes. Go ahead and leave a review there. That'd be fantastic. Thank you for all of the positive feedback I received from everybody. My favorite, I think, iTunes review was a guy who wrote that I was not Mike Schmidt, the baseball player, and he was kind of disappointed by it, but he still gave the podcast 3 stars. So I think that's a victory, in my opinion. That guy, because he came in, he listened to a podcast thinking about how he was going to hit a curveball, and heard a story about a guy taking a shit on the floor. And he still hung around and gave me 3 stars for that. So thank you, sir. I'm glad you were on board. But that means all you guys can go ahead and subscribe at iTunes. That'd be fantastic. Let Apple know that I am somebody you want to listen to, so then they can go ahead and be thrilled with that. Go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Send me email at Mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. Also go to MySpace.com/MikeSchmidtComedy and go ahead and read all the stuff there. Look at the pictures. Be my friend and send me all sorts of comments and that nice stuff. So that's it. I'm the 40-year-old boy, Mike Schmidt. Thanks so much for listening. Oh, and by the way, I am the 40-year-old boy. I know a lot of people have been writing me. Some people that I knew are like, Mike, maybe it's a little young for you, quite frankly. Graduated from high school in 1994. But no, because I was double promoted. I skipped 2nd and 3rd grade, went right from 1st to 4th grade. So that means I was 13 when I was a freshman, which means I was only 16 when I graduated, maybe 4. And if you do the math, I turned fucking 40 in 2008. I was born in 1967.
I'm a dick, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a decent guy because I am a jerk. And I'm not a jerk. Man, I'm an awful guy. I'm not an awful guy. I am not a good guy. But I don't think I'm a bad person overall. So, and go ahead and by all means judge that. I'm kind of a jag-off. I got no future. What am I talking about? But I am a jag-off. And I'm not a jerk. I'm a nice guy. It's just, I guess I have jerky tendencies. I've done so much ridiculous stuff, and then I wonder afterwards, I'm like, man, how come I don't hang out with anybody? Here's why, because you're a dick. You're finished. 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 You're finished.